there everyone. So today I'm gonna be showing on how to add camo patterns and adapt texture colors to Stalker modding. Well, first of all, we're gonna be needing Photoshop. Как я могу сказать, это не оригинально. It's not original. You can find it on the internet. But anyway, here are the things you're gonna be needing. First of all, you're gonna be searching for developer NVidia Texture Tools Exporter, this one. And you're going to be downloading this Adobe Photoshop plugin, and then you're going to be installing. It's pretty much easy. You're going to install into plugins folder on your Photoshop directory. This is the first thing. The second thing you're going to be needing, it's kind of useful. It's on ModB, Camouflage Repository. This mod here, this add-on, gives you a lot of options related to camouflage. Okay, and they are seamless, which means that if you copy and paste and put side by side, you are not going to be seeing a huge cut between one texture and the other. Okay, we're going to be seeing these in practice. But right now, what we're going to be doing here, first of all, I'm doing by request a texture related to Arctic warfare. So what am I thinking here? I chose a very common texture. It's not used by the Gorka pack or anything like this, but it's just a showcase. This is the easy thing you may find in your way of modding. Why I say this? Because you have the pattern of the textile and you have the, some wraps, but you do not have any sort of camouflage related to this. So let's start here. First of all, what you're going to be doing, this is Photoshop. What we're going to be working with is with filters. If I add, for example, a filter here right now, this is a filter. Right on this spot here, you're going to be adding a filter that you can play with the color. So for example, when I right click and create a cut mask, which means that you can change the color of everything here basically. But you can see the color, the hand color is also changing, and we do not want to play with a smurf or anything like this. So what we are going to be doing here, you're going to be selecting, there are two ways of doing this. The fast one, which you're going to be cutting, is the second tool here on the toolbar. You're going to be selecting just the textile part of the texture. You're going to select the base texture, where this part is, it's a member of, Ctrl J, and you're going to be copying, as you can see. All right, which means that now you have one layer, which is this layer that I copied, and the layer that is beneath it, which means that now I can change only the color of one part of the texture. Okay, this is the basics. And well, let's work on the camo. Let's first of all make this white. How do we make it white? Saturation, we're going to remove saturation. Now it's gray. To increase the color, right, to make it white, we're going to be adding the contrast and brightness filter. It's the same thing. Right click on the filter you created and then go into create cut mask. So this effect will only be applied to this layer. And now you can play with the values here until you see, okay, I liked it, and let's go. Basically, that's it. Now, as you can see, it's white right now, but there isn't camo. I want to add camo, and I'm going to be showcasing one example. You can use this mod here, which has many different types of camouflage, or you can go on internet and simply search for a camo pattern. So for example, I'm going to be using KLMK camo pattern. Okay, you're going to be finding a lot of different samples here, and I'm going to be using, let's say, this one. This one looks nice. Resolution is not that good. Here you can see the resolution here on the bottom right corner. The higher the texture, the better. Thing that you can do is here on the search, you have tools. Click on tools, size, and search for a big size. Now let's see here. This one, okay, this one has a huge resolution, but it seems like it was upscaled. Okay, this one looks nice. As you can see, it's very well defined, every grain of the texture. So what I'm going to be doing, right click, copy image. Photoshop, here we are. Add it to the scene. Control T. To add to the scene is just like Control V. It's the same thing, okay? Control T, you're going to select the layer and you can increase the size. Somehow, some Photoshops, if you try to increase the way I'm increasing, it's going to be deforming the format, and this is something we do not want. So Control T, if yours do not deform, it's fine. But if yours it's deforming, press Shift while you increase the size. I'm pressing Shift and it's deforming because mine is completely opposite. But anyway, let's increase the size till it matches the entire layer we created. We can do this, or if somehow the grain is smaller in real life, you can Control J and put side by side. For example, it increases the size. And as you can see, this texture is also seamless. So what you can do, you can select both, Control, select both layers, Control T, reduce the size. You see, now you have a smaller pattern, but this is not what I want. I'm just showing on what you can face. And now we are going to be creating a mask. Now we selected only the pattern we wanted, which means that this camo won't be interfering with the hand layer. Now comes the magic. What do we have here? This is a blending method to blend the layer into different ways. Here's the normal one, but there's a lot of different other ways into merging. As you can see, I have merged here. In the layer you can see the wrap and you can see the texture, the camouflage working itself. But I want to make something related to Arctic warfare, and this doesn't look at all something from that you're going to be using into the snow. So we are going to be also adapting this texture here to work with our white background. Now let's see what we can do here. It's all about testing, okay? There's no such a formula for that. And just to make sure, I removed from the mask cut. So if I remove, it will trim, it will paint also the hand. But let's keep going. Let's see what we can do here. It's all about testing. Do not forget about it. If it doesn't work this way here, what we can do? We can try another method that I'm going to be showcasing. Let's see here. I think it's too... This is bright and this is saturation, the same filters that I added. Now I'm going to be adding another filter called invert. Yeah, now it's more interesting. Invert makes the black turn white and the white turn black. And now we can play with the values here, for example. And now you have monolith camo, for example. What I want to do to make another sort of KLMK. As you can see, the color is purple, but I can change the color. And here it is. Now we have a nice color using the Arctic warfare. Now what you can do, you can or add it to a mask filter again. Right click on create cut mask. It will only apply to this layer. Or you can do, what I would do is to just erase what you don't want. This is the erase tool. Right click. I would increase the size and keep the hardness in maximum, and then just gonna get rid of everything that it isn't related to the texture itself. I don't want to color this, and here you go. You have, for example, now a camouflage adapted to a texture without losing the rapness and stuff like this. Alright, so this is the easy thing. Why? Because there wasn't any sort of camouflage attached to the texture itself. But now let's see something that is a little bit adverse. Now this one is from Gorka Pack. Take a look at how much camo patterns we have here. This is where things get a little bit tough, because you must get rid of these textures here, of this camo, to apply yours. First, try to look if you find the texture without the camo. It's much more easy. But let's suppose you don't find it. What we will have to do? First of all, use the pen tool, which is this, and you can make the same cuts you have done, but more precisely. So this guy here, the elbow pad, won't be using any sort of camo. So I'm gonna be doing this very poorly just so you can get the idea, okay? I'm just gonna be selecting the entire texture or making a polygon to match it, and then I'm gonna be cutting it, okay? As I said, it's gonna be very poorly, as fast as I can to do not take much time. Blah, 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 blah. Almost. Good. After you finish the polygon, right click, create selection. Okay? When you create the selections, you can see everything is moving and it's traced, which means that this format is going to be selected. Select the base texture, which in case is this one, Ctrl J. This form here, you can hide or delete, but now you have only the elbow pad selected, which means that right now I can adapt this background. So what can you do to achieve what you want? Here comes the art, let's say it this way. First of all, I want something that is Arctic warfare. I'm going to be adding a rectangle, and since there's no way of getting the pattern, the cloth pattern, I'm going to be creating a new one. How exactly we do this? I will paint it as white, and in the layers, I'm going to put beneath the elbow pad. Go on Father Google and type for cloth wrapped texture. There you go. Take a look at how pretty it is. There are plenty of patterns you can use. There's a huge amount. There's also another website called Free Peak. This one, Free Peak. As you can see, it's much more easy to find high quality textures. But I'm not going to be using that. I'm just going to be trying to make something more fast here. Let's see. This one. Let's use this guy. Right click, copy image. Now it's just a white pattern. I don't see a clothing in here or anything like that. Now you will start seeing, I just copied this layer on here, Ctrl T, increase the size. Here I'm going to be giving a little bit of deformation just to make everything work, and there it is. Ctrl J, I made a copy, and here it is, nicely done. Just make it one. I selected both layers and pressed Ctrl E. I merged them into just one layer. Okay, and right now what you can do, somehow, let's suppose if this rectangle it's green, you want to make, instead of Arctic, you want to make something related to wood, it's green now, but then the texture you added for the wrap is white. What should you do? Blending again. Get to the blending and multiply, for example. Now you get it, mix it with the green pattern. But this is not what I want. I want Arctic. And let's add here white again. Good. Now the other thing we're going to be doing, I'm going to be adding the same pattern we created here. I selected everything and Ctrl J. I made the group. So instead of getting all the layers and transporting to this one, I just pick up the group and add here. As you can see, the adaptations I did are permanent, but well, you can change that. Just to have the idea on how I do. Nice. Every texture will require different approaches, because every texture is, most of all textures are different. But anyway, let's see what we can do here right now. Because it's still green, if I remove saturation a bit, nope. Brightness. Okay. Alright, I think it got nice, and let's see contrast. If I add more contrast, I'm going to be adding another filter related to contrast. Ooh, where it is. Here I am. And instead of increasing the brightness, I'm going to increase again contrast. Alright, as you can see, now it's white and green. And I can trim again to match a nice color pattern. After everything, it's better you work with darker textures in Stalker. It depends on engine to engine. But in Stalker, it's interesting for you to work with a texture that's a little bit more dark. For example, if you take in consideration, if you take in count, the brightness I have here is much more different from the brightness I have beneath it. Where is the oh, I can find here. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But the thing is, if you compare here, you compare the brightness of this texture is pretty much different from the brightness of the other one, which means that in game it would be a problem. Basically, that's it. I have done shit here. Hold on. Okay, now we got it back. What? Wait. Do not despair, my friends. Do not despair. Let's add again the rectangle. Ah, I see. It's because of the shit here. Anyway. So you can see that it's working. Now, as you can see, the base texture had some more wrapped texture. This one I took by picture because I have a jacket that has this wrinkle. But you can search here the same thing, like wrinkled cloth texture, and you'll find pretty much a lot of patterns here that you can use and trim and adapt to the needs you want. Okay, so this is a very basic way on how to do it, a fast one, and you can adapt pretty much a lot of different camo types. Keep in mind that you can use the multiply filter, but there's a lot of other filters that you can use. And as I said, every texture has its own way of being dealt with. And well, basically that's it. I hope it helped. Leave in the comments if you need any, I don't know, tips or anything like that. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. And a very important thing that I forgot how to show is how to put this in game. I'm not going to be showcasing in game because I don't have anomaly anymore. But anyway, it's very simple. Everything is done. Let's suppose that this is finished. Suppose that it's finished. And after that, we're going to be clicking on File, Save As. Here's the type of format. You're going to be searching for DDS, which is going to be coming with the plugin you just installed. Click on DDS. You're going to be seeing there's a lot of different textures showing up. Since we are adapting a already existing tool, already existing texture, probably it's going to be coming with the name itself. But let's suppose it happened. You're going to search the name of the texture you want you to edit, and then you're just going to be, let's suppose here, it's bare hands is the name of the texture. Save. It's going to ask to override it. You say yes, because it's open here. No. Okay, let's use this one by default. Yes, I'm gonna be overriding it. Now it's how it's gonna be saved. This interface is gonna be popping up. The format I choose BC1. This is the format I choose. But there are some people that choose BC3. There are plenty of different options here, but I use BC1. Okay, if you're gonna be working with, for example, ghillie related textures, you're going to be using BC1A because the ghillie works just like grass works in Stalker. So this is the configuration you're going to be using. But I'm going to be using just BC1. And then you save. After you save it, it's all good. Put inside of your game and test it. And you see it's going to be working. Basically, that's it.